Ka hui te tangata, ka karakia. That was what our tūpuna did. Whenever they gathered, there was karakia before they did anything. And when we talk about traditional versus Christianity, I don't believe there is a versus. I believe they complement each other. I believe that however you were brought up or whatever your thoughts about karakia, karakia is a part of life. From the moment you're born into this life, there are karakia that will help you grow in your pathway.
Karakia, it's nourishment for the soul. And who better to nourish your soul than yourself? And, you know, in your own way and in your own time. And I like quiet time because I think in life you come up against all sorts of situations. And so for me, you know, I would turn to karakia to wash away any of the hara that might have crossed my path.
E rua, kia au, e rua nā rereke. Ma he maha nā rereke, engari anei e tahi. Ko te rereke o te karakia Māori i te karakia Pākehā. Anei tētahi rereke, rerekētanga matua. Ko te karakia Māori he tohu tohu i o atua. Ko te karakia Pākehā he tono i o atua. Ne? So one, you're quite explicit about what you want and you're directing the spiritual forces, the heavenly forces to deliver on what you want. The other, you're requesting and asking. Ne? Anei te tauira. Ka karakia Māori au, ka pēnei au. E o nui whakarongo maira ki te tauira, ki te pūkenga, ki te wānanga. He koronga no ku kia tauwhiro tia mātou, ki te tauwhiro nui, ki te tauwhiro roa. Now I'm quite direct. I'm saying, you up there, listen here. This is exactly what I want. Engari ko te karakia Pākehā, he pēnei ke. E te atua, e nui ana mātou ki a koe. Kia tukua mai e koe manaakitanga ki runga ki a mātou. Ne? Nā, ara tētahi rerekētanga. Ne? Ara tētahi rerekētanga. Ko tētahi, kai te tohu tohu. Ko tētahi, kai te inui. Ne?
I was brought up in Pai Mariri Pai. Ever since I was little, I've always known karakia to be Pai Mariri. And then I was sent away to college and introduced into the Anglican church. So, you know, that was a big change for me. But when I finished school, then came back home again and I was straight back into Pai Mariri. I don't have any qualms about religions. When my children were born, I believed that they could grow up in Pai Mariri, but when they got older, they could make the choice of whether they would stay in that place or move to something else. All my mokopuna have been brought up in Pai Mariri, but they also take on other religions that happen. So, yeah, I don't have any cons with it. Spirituality, well, he wahanga anō tina, you know, and I think, again, it's your beliefs and the values. So, yeah.
Karakia. First karakia that I can remember hearing was the Pai Marire, and that was my dad. Didn't understand it, but I knew it was a karakia. We were made to go to Sunday school, so we were introduced to the brethren, hahi. I go to high school, I go to college in Auckland, and I'm introduced to the Anglican. Karakia, for me today, just the mahi I do is karakia to me. I don't have to stand there and say the Lord's Prayer. And everything I do, he karakia. A karanga, tō karanga I runga I te marae, he momo karakia tira. Te tau parapara, he momo karakia. Ko o whakaaro, mo tetehi atu, he momo karakia. Ko te wairua, ko tōku wairua me tō wairua, kōrero ana ki a rāua. I love the old traditional Māori karakia. Never used to, I do now. And this year I've tried to introduce just short karakia, tawhito, to my students. It's beautiful and we don't actually use them enough. And ko whai ke ngā karakia kreitiana. But in my family, whoever the minister was around the time, we were christened. So we have Anglican, Catholic, Methodist in my family.
A fruit bowl of different religions.
That's it.
I used to be at a Māori boys Anglican boarding school, so some might suggest that I had an Anglican bringing up. But then I came out and got exposed to the world and sort of in the decolonisation process thought actually we've got our own karakia and we should be using them. They're not that gullah stuff from way back in 1862 or 1632 or whatever. They're actually, the concepts are no different to now, but we just got to believe it. We just got to bring those concepts forward to now, and in a sense they're the different words but same concepts that I suppose most societies use for themselves. So for me, karakia it's a sort of an individual thing. It's about how you feel about yourself, about how you prepare for the things that you want to do, how you organise yourself. It's about setting your mind at ease. It's about preparing your mind. All those sorts of things are important. In terms of our wānanga, I try and tell our people to say, well, if you're going to do karakia, at least be at the table. Or else you're doing it from the other room. Well, that's cool, but all you're doing is going through the ritual, as opposed to go to the kai and talk to the kai. Now, if you talk to the kai, then you're putting that karakia in a different space, as opposed to rum rattle, blah, 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 look after the food and all that sort of stuff. Well, I mean, anybody can do that. But in terms of te ao Māori, nōku ake nei kōrero, I think we've got to take it to another place, which is about, if you're going to give thanks to the kai, at least see it in front of you.
Now, these are really personal thoughts from me about karakia. Because we were raised, the church played a really big part in my life growing up, because that was the whole community thing, the farming, the marae, the church and the school. So those were really important things. But as I got a bit older, I realised that really I think I should be responsible for my own spiritual well-being, and that it meant to me that I should be having karakia every day rather than once a week on a Sunday. Yeah. So my husband and I, we raised our family. We had 2 girls. Well, we have a whāngai girl. And karakia was really important for us. The first thing they did, or we did as a family, was to get up, wash, and we sat down and had karakia together. Before breakfast, girls getting dressed and going to school. That was the foundation for our family, and still is the foundation, for me today.
Most people don't do karakia every day. I'm not one either. I can't say that I do karakia every day unless I'm asked. I'm not prompted to do that. You go about your life until you get to crisis. Then all of a sudden crisis brings on karakia, and that's what's about settling you down or getting you in a right frame of mind or whatever it might be. For those who are athletes, they might use karakia to get them in the space, get them in the mindset, or a new challenge. It's probably be no news to anybody that probably every kapa haka in the country would have karakia before they go onto the stage. Why? To get themselves prepared. So you got that line, but you also got karakia to ease the soul, to ease the mind, to ease the heart. All those sorts of things are important.
Kei te pai, any karakia will do. Now, that comes from one who has lived with it all their lives. There is only one God in the end. Māori spirituality is beautiful. Māori spirituality talks about there is one God and there is many ways to get there. Okay. There is one God and there's many karakias to get there. Okay. And in terms of the karakias and how they're said and how people go, I'm just thankful and hopeful that there are people who have karakias of any kind. Because in today's environment, what's missing big time is people's believing in a power that is greater than themselves, spiritual. The absence of spiritual wealth, spiritual health in this world for our young, for our pakeke, is something that does not help them. There is a place for karakia. There is a place for worship. There is a place for spiritual awareness. My kōrero is about we need more people to take up the spiritual side.
I think there is karakia that are unspoken. So you look around you on a beautiful day like this and you see nature and you see trees and you see children and people and you give thanks, and that is a karakia. Of course there are karakia that are specific for reasons, whether it be birth, death, travel, and I think we must adhere to these in the way that they were taught. But then there is so much more to karakia than words. So when I think of karakia, it's every living moment of my life. Because whenever you're happy, whenever you're glad, whenever you're sad, whatever you think and whatever you ask for is a karakia.
But I'm from a family in the far north. We were impacted very, in the early days, very early by Mormonism. So half my family are Mormons. My father was raised in a wānanga, so he has another set of karakia that he was raised with, or inoi that he was raised with. And my mother was a Presbyterian. I'm a confirmed Anglican because I went to Te Waipounamu Māori Girls College. I'm a confirmed Anglican, and I tell you what, I love it. I rock it up at the chapel in Carmel with my cousins at their weddings and at our tangi. I love it. On my marae, my cousin gets up and he starts with a rātana karakia, and then my auntie gets up at lunchtime and she'll do the paki. They call them the paki. Apostolics come through, who went through the valley at another time. We do, the paki waiata, and at the end, another cousin will finish off with a Mormon prayer. And so what? As long as we embrace and understand at that time is about giving thanks. It's about thinking clearly, providing clarity, reflection time, thinking good thoughts. Then I'm cool with all that. And then I'm really lucky because I have my papa, so we have another set of karakia that we go through that has a different type of language once again. So, yeah.
Haere koe ki runa i ngā marae, ko te tikanga, mā nātua Māori e kawe ana i te wairua o te marae. Ko mōhi o tātou te ingoa tūturu o te marae, ko te marae are o tūmatauinga atua Māori tērā. Kai ki roto i te whare, a ko te wāhi o rongo marairua tērā. Ara, ko haumi e tiki tike, a ki roto i te whare kai, we nā hua i puta mai i ngā māra, rau ko rongo mai tāne. Kei reira he wāhi mō nā karakia tawhito. Kei reira he wāhi mō nā karakia tawhito. Engari mō ngai tātou te Māori, kua huri te ao, kua huri ngai tātou te Māori, kua huri nā whakaaro, kua huri nā karakia, kua huri nā whakapono. Nō reira iwe nei rā, ko tipu mātou ki roto i te ao kraiti ana. Nō reira, kei te noho au ki runa i te taiapa mō tēnei pātai. Ka tika rā tērā. Nā te mea, ko kōrero atu nei mō nā atua Māori. Engari, ko aku whakarākaitanga, ko tōku hāhi a rātana. Iri nei wōku tōku pāpā i au te wā pēpi ana ki raro i te hāhi a rātana. I tipu mai au ki runa i te marae o mā tātua ki raro i te hāhi o ringatu. I whakaakoa tōku mātua kēke i nā karakia o te ao tawhito. Nā reira, ko whāwhā atu au ki te rā keke, ki te rā keke, ki te rā pihikete. Ko kaiwe rā pihikete, ko kaiwe rā keke. Nā reira, kei reira, he wāhi mō nā karakia tawhito, me nā karakia kraiti ana o Naiani.
I can genealogically tie myself to the beginnings of my origins. Ne? And my origins, I roto i te whakaaro Māori, are godly. Ne? Nō reira, mehe tai ana au te pēra, I have a godly element in me. Ne? I have a godly element in me, you've got a godly element in you. My whakapapa tells me I'm related to the trees. My whakapapa tells me I'm related to the sky. I'm related to the earth. Ne? I'm related to you. I'm related to the birds. So when I go and cut a tree down, or I open a house, I have used my brothers and sisters to build that house. Ne? And those trees that I used, the power that I have taken from the ocean to put in the power, put in the eyes of those whakairo, the tukutuku that are in there that are from the kieke in the forest. Ne? The mats from the pāhara keke, from the flax bush that are in the whare nui, where hine te iwa is the Māori kura, it's the kaitiaki. I can whakapapa to all of them. And I te seen from Rangi Nui and Papa. Ne? Ka tae au te whakapapa. Ki e rā atua. So I have a godly element in me. So when I karakia, the decibels change as well. And that's another difference. You won't hear a layman or a priest at that same level as if you heard a tohunga tuhinga's karakia. Ne? Mai e tatipua, mai e tatawhito, mai e te kāhui o ngāriki. Because in my mind, my whakaaro Māori, mai atua Māori, they might not want to listen to me if I'm saying, e ngā tua, whakaronga mai koutou ki ai. Kei te pirangi au kia whakaronga mai koutou. They don't want to listen to me. Ne? But when my voice changes, ka atua taku reo. Pēnei te whai kōrero. Ne? Pēnei te karanga. They're on a spiritual wavelength. Ne? And the environment listens. Pēnei no te karakia. So while I'm doing my karakia Māori, the grass is listening to me, the trees are listening to me, the birds are listening to me, Rangi Nui is listening to me, Papatua Nuku is listening to me. Ne? The vibrations from my karakia, they go out, ne? And they're tuned to this like I said, the spiritual wavelength. Ne? Nā, ko te karakia nei, he whakatō mai i ngā mana, i ngā tapu, ne? I ngā wehi, ki roto i ahau o era atua. Anō nei he atu ahau. Ne? Anō nei he atu ahau. I te mea ko taku whakapuno, i heke mai au i ngā atua. Ne? Nā te atua, nā ngā atua hau i waihanga. Ne? Nō reira, ka tahe e au, aku atua, te karanga, te tohu tohu. Ne? Anō nei, he whānau ko tahi tātou.
I don't really, this is really being honest here, I don't really believe that I need someone else to tell me what I should believe in. Yeah. You know, I like to do that for myself. And Karakia is between you and God anyway. And so for me, he's the one that will give me the guidance and the support and the nourishment that I need.